Braith, how are you doing? How is it? How is
Oh,
it down under? I have to say.
I am so excited to be here with you this morning. It's morning for me. Of course, it's yesterday afternoon for you.
That's right.
So I know I have a friend in America and I went to visit her and she's got young kids once. We were sitting down. I was explaining that I've come from the future because it's tomorrow where I live. He couldn't get his head around it. He was like
Yeah.
7. It's just, but it's a great thing for kids to understand that, they're
It's tough
not
for me to
percent
get
of
my
the
head
universe.
around. Yeah. It's like we're time traveling on this call right now. That's amazing.
You're international and you're a time traveler. Emily, you have made it in podcasting.
Yeah. I remember I was on a flight, an international flight, and the plane was chasing the sun. So we were just like,
Oh, yeah.
it was never dark. And I was like, this is so weird. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I'm booking a flight to go to a conference in the States and I've got to go via Japan because it's the only way I can get there. And I arrive the day before I leave.
That's crazy. That's mind trippy. Yeah. That's
I know,
so
right?
crazy. Very cool. So before I start with anything, we were
Yeah.
talking about this earlier. Can you explain what laughter yoga is to people?
I didn't know you were going to start with. Yeah. Well, look, laughter yoga was really brought together in the 90s by a guy called Dr. Madan Kataria in India. And he was working with patients and he noticed that people who had joy in their lives seemed to kind of get better faster and be, out of the hospital quicker. And so he thought, well, I'm going to create this laughter thing so that people can be happy and just be well in their everyday life. So I started with a group of people down in a local park and they just told jokes. But after a week, the jokes ran out. And he's thinking, because there's only so many jokes you've got in your life, right? So then he started thinking, well, how can I make this so that we could actually laugh and get the benefits of laughing? And of course, India being a country of yoga, he thought, well, laughter is an extension of breathing. And he said, well, let's call it laughter yoga and let's do breathing exercises and laughing exercises. So really what it's become is laughing for the sake of laughing, not at funny stuff, but just laughing. And you do some exercises to laugh. There's a little bit of stretching and movement, but it's not like traditional yoga where you're on a mat or anything. You can wear whatever you're wearing right now and do it. But it's really a way of really fooling your brain into knowing that you're happy. Because here's the thing, we're kind of pretty dumb beings. Like our brain cannot tell if we're fake laughing or real laughing. It's like it goes, we're laughing, so we're happy. So it just thinks we're happy. So after 20 minutes, there's a lot of science on this now. So this is not woo woo. There's been a lot of research over the last 30 years to show that the body brain feedback loop goes, well, this person's laughing, so therefore I'm happy, and it releases all the oxytocin, all the
Hmm.
serotonin, all the good stuff that we want, all the good drugs in our brain, and our body basically lifts us up. So if you have never done laughter yoga, I highly encourage you to jump online. Just start with some YouTube videos. There's a gazillion out there. And then if you have an opportunity, get to a laughter club either on Zoom or in person. So yeah, there's laughter
I
yoga.
love that, a laughter club. Like that sounds like an amazing hobby to take up.
It is so cool.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. I had never heard of that before, so I was like, I need to tell people about this.
I know you were
But
quite flawed when we brought it up last time we spoke, and I love the way you were like, so like, wow, what is this thing?
yeah, well, I mean, who can't use more laughter in their life?
I know,
And
right?
it's like if you start fake laughing, I think you mentioned this, but I would assume that you just start really laughing after a while because
Yeah.
like this is funny, this is
So
dorky.
you just get into this zone. Like I don't find it hard to laugh, but people often come and go, I can't laugh. I don't laugh. And by the end of it, they're like rolling on the floor, crying with laughter. Going, I have not done that for since I was a kid because as kids we laugh organically. It's just normal. But as adults, it gets beaten out of us because you must be
Yeah.
serious, you must be tough, you must be, and literally we stop laughing in a joyous way as adults because culturally it's just what happens. I did not know we were going to have this conversation, and I love it because laughter in life and in business is essential.
Well, I think laughter is a connection point, like a true connection
Yeah,
point with people universally. and I'm going to try to pivot. I'm going to try to pivot this to marketing, Braith. And if you're looking at your ideal customers and trying to market to them, you have to find what connects with them personally. And so
Yep.
to get us into this part of the conversation, can you just do a brief explanation of maybe what BNI is and your involvement in it?
Yeah. So, well, that's a very good twist around from Laughter Yoga. I was
Thank you.
wondering how you're going to get back from this. But yeah, so for the last 15 years, I've been the executive director of BNI, which is the world's largest professional referral organization. And I own the Melbourne franchise. So we have a whole part of members. They turn up to a weekly meeting and they teach each other the sort of business that they're looking for. And through building trust, which is happening over time and the consistent weekly meetings, people slowly open up their networks to other people in their chapter that they feel trustworthy, and then they pass referrals. And the clearer you are about what it is that you want, the easier it is to refer to you. And that's the key to it. And so that's a really good segue into marketing.
Okay, thank you for that background. And then how does one start about how does one begin finding their ideal customer? If you have a marketing
Mm,
manager or someone who's just like, we're doing marketing, but it's not
mm.
working. What do you say to that
I know,
person?
right? Well, firstly, a lot of people don't understand the difference between marketing and sales. And when I did my studies in marketing, one of the professors said the easiest way to think of marketing is everything that gets the customer to your front door. Sales is when they're in your room and you can move them to being a paying customer. So when you realize that, it's like, oh, so all the antecedents to getting them into my room or into my shop or onto my website or wherever it is, that's all marketing. So if people understand the difference between sales and marketing well, then they can start to think about what are the sort of things that I'm doing that I need to do to bring those people to my door. I'm using door as a euphemism, but it means the sales process. So, it's everything from the way you communicate, your brand. Advertising is marketing, but it's not the only part of marketing. It's the way you deliver your brand messaging. It's your logo. It's the language that you use. It's all the things that a potential customer is going to see before they get into the buying space. And there's a lot of it. And I don't know if I mentioned to you this the other week, but I've just finished judging the Australian National Marketing Awards. I'm a member of the Marketing Institute, and I've seen some really cool stuff that people are doing at the moment to bring people to their door. And at the moment, the really hot thing that people are doing is a lot of personalization. So you can really personalize the way you communicate to your potential customers these days in a way that 20 years ago was imaginable, but it's just very easy now. So you can get very, very individual about the way you can potentially connect to your customers. So that means that if you're going to do that, you've got to know exactly who you want to do business with and why, because that's the key to it. Because you can throw a bucket of money at Facebook ads,
Hmm.
Google, billboards, newspaper ads, TV ads. But if you're not speaking to the right person, they're going to go, I don't get you. I'm not on this journey with you. I'll see you later. And then you're going, well, we're doing all this marketing. Why aren't we getting people? Probably because you're not talking to the right people.
Yeah, if you don't know who you're connecting to, you can cue the toilet flush sound with all that money because it's literally
Right?
like just burning money. I've done that, and we've done that at companies I've been in where it's like, this isn't doing anything.
I know, right? And yeah, and look, most of the time, because I work a lot in keynote presenting, and I talk to companies when I go to their conferences, and I say, "Well, who's the intended audience? What's the message that you want to get from them?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, the way I'm going to speak to your audience and the message I'm going to deliver is going to depend on the outcome that you want. So assuming the outcome's the buying stuff, like what do you want me to deliver?" And so often organizations just haven't thought that through. And that's why, you go to conferences sometimes and you see speakers and it's just like a blur. And you go, well, that wasn't relevant to me. But most keynote speakers can tailor their speech to
Yeah.
meet the needs of the audience. So if you've got a room full of architects looking to be, better leaders in their business, you're going to have a very different conversation to if you have a room full of social media marketing people. Like, that's a whole different conversation. So, you really need to tailor your communications to that. But it's really getting down to a very granular level of who you're talking to. And if you don't have the avatar written down, you don't really know who your customer is. So if a company hasn't got that level of detail, they're never going to connect to the right people.
So how does one go about doing that? And you used the word personalize earlier. And I know
Yeah.
some people hear that and are like, so are they going to do like creepy stalker stuff to try to get me into their business? Where like, how did you get this phone number? How did you get my address or something? Or is it something different?
That's partly that. But here's the thing, the reality is these days, the world knows what we're doing. The world knows how to connect with us. And you can buy information. Your supermarket sells your information, your department store, all the websites that you visit. Everyone's collecting data, and data is power, and they are selling that. So I don't know in the States whether do you have supermarket loyalty cards where you get
Mm-hmm.
points and stuff like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So all that is that's just them getting your data and basically selling it off and giving you a few points to make it seem like you're getting something, but it's them keep collecting your data and selling it. So they make a lot more money from selling that data than they do from giving you your points or whatever it is that you get in return, or you 10% off your groceries or whatever. So don't be fooled for a second that they are not collecting your data and selling it on. So everyone's doing it, and now in Europe in particular, in Australia, I'm not sure about the States, there's some very clear opt-in stuff where you get to say, yes, I'm interested, no, I'm not willing, and you can opt in or opt out. And in Europe, it's called GDPR, excuse me, where they're very tight about the way they use that information, which is great, but still there's a lot of information being collated. So you asked about personalization. So personalization is really when you go into your supermarket, they know that you like, I don't know, orange juice, for example. So, you really like orange. Maybe that was a bad example because there's only so much you can drink, but you get the idea. So, maybe they go, oh, okay, Emily loves orange juice. And then they know how Emily behaves online. They know what Emily likes to look at. And so you're going to see ads served up to you online with
Mm,
orange juice.
yeah.
And it's like, well, how did that happen? Well, partly it's because your data's been sold, and partly it's because of your buying habits, and partly it's because of the way you navigate the web. And maybe you're clicking on websites about orange juice, and so it knows that you are interested, and you're looking at orange juice ads on Instagram. So it knows that. So businesses now have the ability to serve ads to you online in a very particular way, but it's not even just that. For example, I use a thing called SendSpark. If you haven't discovered it, oh my goodness, you've got to do it. It's the coolest thing. I'm going to rock your world with this. So it's a Chrome add-on, and so instead of writing a lot of emails these days, I just drop down the link from the Chrome, and it opens up a recording window, and I just record a video, and it drops into the
Oh.
email. And instead of it being like a click on this link, which looks like spam, right? You've got this little window of Braith speaking. You can see my head moving. So it's me. So you go, oh, okay, I can open this video. And then so I don't write these massive long emails anymore. I just do like 1 minute or less quick videos, and any specific information that needs to be written, I pop underneath that. But people love it. And that's really personalized. And so if you're reaching out to potential clients and you can do a really personalized email like that, they are just going to go, wow, Emily gets me. She is
Mm.
talking directly to me. It takes 40 seconds of your time. It's longer to write an email. I don't know about you, but it will take me a lot longer than 40 seconds to write that information. And people love it. So that's a really cool way of doing it. People are using direct message chatbots with AI that really understand how to talk to you. So
Where
there's
do
a
you come
lot of
down
stuff
on
going
that?
on.
How do you use that and how should you not use that?
Well, there's a gazillion tools out there at the moment in the AI world. I personally love AI. I use it every day for stuff. I personalize my emails using AI to people. So in the my database when I'm communicating to people, we will use AI to really personalize the message. So we'll say, oh, Emily, we know you're a chief of staff expert. So, we might start off with, oh, Emily, chief of staff expert in the email. So, and you go, oh, well, how'd they know that about me? But, it's magic. But, I mean, AI can do that. And it really allows you to make stuff really relevant for the customer. But the key to it is you've got to tell the AI the tone that you want to deliver it in, the intended audience. So it's not as easy as just going to chat GPT and say, write me an email, ... You've got to put, it's like if you're going to give a brief to a human, you would give them a bit of information about the intended audience and the outcome you expect. It's the same thing with AI. Most people don't get that, but AI is like a person. You've got to give it the info. But I love it. And I think it's here to stay. And I think it's growing. And I think that in business today, I think if you're not learning about the opportunities that are available for you in AI, you're kind of going to get lost, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've dabbled around with Chat GPT, and it is like phenomenal in certain ways for
Mm,
brainstorming activities. And I'm trying
yeah.
to get this across. Can you just tell? Oh, that's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say. Or,
Yeah, right.
or like you said, like more casual, or like more friendly, or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like I was like, okay, so you have to pay attention because it's a powerful tool.
It's a
Um,
very powerful tool. And, I think it's been here for a while. People just think it happened last year, but it's actually been here for quite a few years. It's just got to the point now where it's hit critical mass, and the early adopters who've been using it for, a number of years are, well and truly on the journey. And so, we're the early majority now. And I think that that's really fascinating that, where will this go?
I saw a graph that showed the uptake of things like Facebook and like Instagram and even like Bitcoin, and
Yeah.
Chat GBT is like
Yeah.
this parabolic super steal. I was like,
And it's
whoa.
insane. I've
Yeah.
seen something similar. It's like it's insane the uptake on it, and I just cannot imagine where it will be in 5 years' time, but it's here to stay.
Yeah. So you talked about personal video messages, which I love because
Yeah,
video people
nice.
connect with faces more and
Yeah,
things like that. I had a vendor who sent me a video message, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like that's nice." He sent people messages, and he personalized it to me. So it was like,
mm,
Emily, like I just want to congratulate you on blah blah blah. He had mentioned some specifics about my
yeah.
account, and I was like, "No way!" So he couldn't
Wait,
have, faked that. So
yeah,
how do you decide when to go ultra personalized
yeah,
and when to go like medium or maybe
yeah,
not
yeah.
personalized?
Oh, so such a great question, because you can get trapped in the a maze of endless personalization. Look, ultimately, it comes down to the value proposition that you're trying to achieve with the particular customer. So, obviously, we do business with people we know, like, and trust. And if you're trying to build trust with someone, personalizing the way you engage with them is the fastest way to build trust, right? So, if you are was he a vendor of yours or a
Yeah,
supplier?
I'm on a platform of his and I use it very well. I'm one of his top
Yeah.
users. And so he wanted to say
Yeah.
like, thank
Well,
you for using the platform.
there's your answer. So, you're a great customer. So now you're talking about how that experience, I'm sure you've talked about it to other people as
Hmm.
well. So, like, how much would that cost to pay people to do that? Like, you're a mini influencer now,
Hmm.
because you're out there extolling the virtues of that product, and I'm sure you would recommend it to other people. And so you find the level of value that you're going to achieve from engaging with your high value customers. I mean, there's no point in I always say, segment your customers. You've got to have platinum, gold, silver, bronze, and you should be retiring the bronze customers on a regular basis. You should be working out whether the silvers are going to go to gold, and then the golds are either going to go to platinum or they're going to drop down to silver. It's all always trying to work out where the customer is in the value proposition. But if we continually moving the average up, you're going to have a better business, right? So, but you wouldn't be investing in time in personalizing stuff to a bronze customer, right? You're just not going to do it because you're not getting any value from that. But you're in that company's eyes are probably a gold or a platinum customer. So they're either moving you up into an even stronger brand supporter or user of that product, or you're already right up there and they're just making sure you stay there.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away. I was like, this is going to be a video message, which would be nice. But when they said, "Hi, Emily," I was like, wait, they can't say that to everyone. And they went on to
No,
describe specifics about my account. I was like, wow. So I
I
emailed them
know.
back and I was like, wow, like, thank you so much for your message. Um,
It is possible to get an AI to do that as well. You know, you can actually
yeah.
have a talking head do it. So I mean, I personally don't have that going on in my business. I do them myself, but it is, you can actually make that an AI that does that, and you probably couldn't tell. I went to a marketing conference recently, and they showed an AI selling a wine subscription to this guy, and it was like the whole conversation was like
Mhm.
live, and you couldn't predict what was going to be said, and that you could not tell this talking head was AI. It was insane. It was just insane. But that's where we're at.
Yeah. Maybe I got tricked. Maybe I got hoodwinked, but
But
it was,
it doesn't matter, because what do you feel about that brand now?
yeah, I would feel less if it was actually fake though. So, um,
Probably,
I,
but still.
I think he did it, but I'll choose to believe he did it anyway. Um,
But you know what? Think about 30 years ago. You're probably too young to remember this, Emily, but when mobile phones first came out and text messaging became a thing, like it was, people considered it rude. And
mm,
now it's like almost rude to pick up the phone and call people. You know, stuff changes,
that's true.
cultural
That's really
norms
true.
shift. And maybe the cultural norm in 10 years' time will be for an AI chatbot to
Why
talk
didn't
to
you
us.
send me an AI video?
I know, right? And maybe we'll think that's really, really cool, because, you know, in 10 years' time, that might be the cultural norm. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. This is happening so fast. We just don't know. But never assume that what is a bit icky today isn't going to be the norm tomorrow, because I can assure, I worked in telco in the 90s. I can assure you, we thought SMS was a fad.
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually. It's a really good point. I probably will look back on this and say, it's rude when someone doesn't reply to your AI video message with another AI video message. Come on, Emily. So,
It'll be the machines talking to the machines, and Emily's
oh
sitting
my
out there having
gosh.
her pina colada on the
Oh my
beach.
gosh. Yeah, that part
Well,
I
you know,
like.
that's the theory, but I don't know that that's what will happen, because, you know, I've been around for a long time, and I can remember when I was in telco in the 90s, and people were saying that, you know, we'll spend all this time in leisure, but now people are doing more than ever. So I think what AI allows us to do is invest our time in doing things that really are valuable to our business and our lives. So we're still going to have a lot of stuff to do. We're just going to get a lot more stuff done, right? So AI simply is a tool to help us.
One of the elements you were talking about was kind of churning the bottom of your roster with like churning out the
Yeah,
bronze accounts.
yeah,
And I'm wondering, if it makes sense to focus on your gold and platinum. How do you how do you stay laser focused on that and keep yourself disciplined to say, nope, I'm going to stay right here and double down almost on what I know works
yeah,
and get the quality touches in versus the numbered game and the funnel and all that stuff.
yeah,
How do you help people say, okay, you're doing all right. You're maybe here, but I want to take you to laser focus where every
yeah.
single touch point you have is meaningful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the 80-20 rule, really, isn't it? So, you know, we all know the Pareto principle, you know, 20% of our clients bring 80% of our revenue. So you said the key word when you asked the question, and that's discipline. So you've got to have some discipline and some accountability, and you've got to have the confidence to know that if you are investing in your best clients, because they're the people that are coming on the journey with you in your business, then you will either extract more value from those people, or you will attract more people like that. Because as soon as you know who the absolute raving fans for Emily is, or your business, then you can get more of those, or grow those people into even bigger fans. So, you know, we have all heard that it costs more to acquire a customer than, you know, to keep a customer. And it is very true. So what would it be like if you could have your retention really high? Because retention in any business is, you know, key. In my business of BNI, retention's, you know, an issue. We've got to really make sure we deliver the brand promise to those people so they stay and become raving fans. But, you know, it's the discipline of knowing where to invest your time, and really understanding exactly who is your platinum customer and why. Because if you understand that, if you understand stuff, you can actually do stuff about it. Knowledge is power in business, right?
hmm It almost sounds like there's an anchor point for all of your decisions. So it's like, hey, it might change with the times, but essentially our customers are going to have these qualities. And so we're going to
Yeah.
build everything in our marketing
Yeah.
strategy towards that.
Absolutely. So I talk about a thing called purpose, intention, and connection, which is my contemporary version of vision, mission, and values. So purpose is really about what is your business, what do you stand for. So you can do this as an individual, or you can do it as a business. So your purpose is where am I at? What am I here to do? What am I trying to achieve with my customers? And so when you understand that, it really helps you to think about what your intention is. So that's how you're going to achieve that vision. So you go, okay, so this is how I'm going to do that. And then if you add on the connective part of that, which are your values, so if you really understand your values, then all the things that arrive into your business, the challenges and the problems that you need to make decisions on, you can go simply back to your purpose, your intention, and your connection. You can say, is this aligned with that? Is this going to achieve that? I think 10 years ago, people used to say, is this on mission, or is, this part of our
hmm
vision? And it's so true. You're just coming back to those position anchors and go, well, are we making a decision that's in line with that? And if it's not, it's an easy no. But this is where people procrastinate and they go, well, I don't know, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. But indecision is the kryptonite of business. You've got to take action, right? You've got to take action. And so having that holy grail of understanding your purpose, your intention, your connection with your customers, you can go yes or no really easily. And if you
And
can't, then I invite people to go back and have a look at where that ship is sailing.
And I think too, as things change so rapidly, as we just talked about, if you have that touch point, you can say, well, will this technology help us get to more people in that
Correct.
anchor zone? Or like, no, 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 that's great. It's fun and fancy, but not for us.
100%. And I think that in today's world, and I see it a lot, that people often want to move from one thing to the next thing really quickly, and they're
Mhm.
like flipping, flopping. And you see a lot of those businesses really struggling because they're not making headway. But one of my mentors said it's better to do one thing 1,000 times than 1,000 things one time. And that takes discipline, right? But you can only do that one thing 1,000 times if you know what your purpose is, if you're really clear about what your intention is and how you're going to connect to your customers. And then you can go, oh yes, I can do this. Business, you can change in business because stuff comes into business, but ultimately, is this in alignment with where we're heading? And it makes it very easy to make decisions, super easy.
It reminds me of Greg McKeown's book Essentialism, and he has
Oh yeah.
that graph where there's like a circle, and then if you're trying to do 12 things, maybe you have 12 arrows out of that circle, but they're short arrows. But if you
Yeah,
focus it on one thing, you have one arrow and it goes further faster because you're focused on that one
totally.
thing. So,
Speaking of one thing, have you read that book?
yes, I have. So
Yeah.
I like Essentialism. I love the graphs in there, but I have read
Yeah.
one thing as well, which is very similar in
they've,
concept.
they've got the same thing going on,
Yes,
right? So it's all
absolutely.
about your laser focus. I'm actually going to the One Thing conference this year in Phoenix.
Oh.
I'm super excited about that.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
I'm feeling
Yeah.
a little bit guilty because my diary doesn't have my one thing in it every day. I'm thinking, oh, I've got 5 months to the conference. I better get my diary looking a bit better. But I love the book and I love what they say, and I love the idea of doing one thing and really well. It is a discipline, though. We're all humans. We're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
always perfect. I don't know about you, but I'm not.
No, certainly not. Yeah. But I think what I'm hearing from you is make sure you know what you're pointing at, and then do
Yeah.
what you can to keep yourself focused on that task, on
Totally,
that thing.
totally. And that, I don't know about you, but I get caught up in procrastination sometimes. And in the past, I've been paralyzed by procrastination, which is not a great feeling. But when I really spent some time working out what I'm doing, why I'm doing, and what I want to do it for, then my procrastination has abated, because when I get into that state, I can go, well, how is this serving that? And, logically, the answer is it's not. So it's easier to get out of that procrastination. I mean, I literally physically get up and move when that happens to me. And I go, well, how's this serving this mission? And, it just isn't. And then I find it a bit easier to step back. But I'm still not perfect. We're all work in progress.
And I mean, no one's perfect, so give yourself some leeway if you're like, oh, that didn't quite work, or oh, I got distracted. Um,
Yeah.
and the one thing that I hear you is like, oh, what is that adage? I think it was Abe Lincoln who said, if you give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'm gonna spend the first five sharpening my axe.
Yeah.
So if people are discouraged of like, well, I don't want to, like, I need to do something, and it's like, hold on, take a beat and figure out your why and figure out what the heck you're doing, and then go execute toward it.
Totally. And it comes back to that question we were talking about marketing. If your marketing's not working, and if you haven't spent the first 5 hours of that 6 hour time block working out who you want to connect with and why, because if you can't answer the why, they're not going to want to connect with you. So spend that time investing, and then take the action. But we got to take action. You got to take action eventually.
Sharpen your axe. Sharpen your
Sharpen your
axe.
axe, and then after 5 hours, just one big hit and the tree comes down. Maybe one.
So, Braith, where can people find out more about you or how you help people?
Cool. I have a website, so it's super easy. So it's braithbramkin.com. So there's only one of me, Emily, thankfully. It's an easy website to buy years ago. So yeah, jump onto my website. There's buckets of free stuff. I release blogs and videos every week. I've got some free courses on my website, and I just love to give people the experience, the knowledge of my experience. And I think that, I'm very privileged in my life, in my business. And I think it's incumbent upon me to share that knowledge with as many people as possible.
Love it. Thank you. And since Braith is not the most common name in the US, Braith, Braith?
Correct.
Okay.
Braith Bramkin. That's
Okay.
me.
Go find Braith online and connect with him. Tell him you found him on this show. And Braith, thank you so much for being on Leveraging Leadership.
Oh, thank you. I knew that we would have a fun time together on this podcast, and I've really enjoyed my time with you. You're great. You've got a great show. Thank you.
Likewise, likewise. Love it. Thank you so much.
Bye.